I am.
A little bit about Romondo so you guys have an idea. I'm going to give you just a snippet of my own personal stuff too. But Romondo is an internet marketing consultant who focuses on helping entrepreneurs and businesses reach their audience. Among his specialties include building and maintaining websites, using WordPress, search engine optimization, which is SEO, right? Before I didn't know what SEO was, before I met Romondo. So let me just throw that in there. Content marketing and video. Now his primary hobby is photography. And most of you that have been to Venture Cafe would have seen him in that space. So yes, that's him. And as we get going into this, one of the things that I love about what he does is he's good about explaining, and all I want you to do is think about your questions. And then as we move throughout, when you have your question, I want you to tailor it toward whatever the topic is at this point. Because what'll happen is if we don't, we will be all over the place, and we don't want to keep you guys here till midnight. We don't have that much time. So I want you to think about your questions and make sure that they're tailored around what we're covering at that point. And then also I want to plug this as well. Romondo is also doing office hours after this. If you have not seen that, he's doing office hours. And if you want to sign up for that, there's a 15-20-minute slot that you may be able to grab still. And I will turn it over to you, Mr. Davis. It's all yours.
Okay. So another intro is an intro to this presentation. SEO, search engine optimization, is a very broad and deep subject, and it's constantly changing. I don't consider myself the utmost expert, but I know where the resources are just from working on it for 13 some odd years. So if I have a question, I'll go do a search, and I'll see what keywords that I use to come up with the answers to my questions. So be prepared as you pursue to either learn SEO or deepen your knowledge of SEO to rely on many, many resources, including me. I will be happy to provide resources that I mentioned today on request. I honestly am not proud of the fact that I did not produce a PDF file with links in it that I can send you, but if you send me an email, I will certainly put that together quickly and send it out.
I will drop his email in the chat box, you guys.
Is there any way to take a poll on how many of you have a website and manage it? And
yes,
that's why you're
in the chat really quick. If you guys would chime in the chat. If you have a website, say yes, and if you don't, say no. And I'll man those and I'll count them up.
And the reason I ask is it'll help understand if you already know of a need that you have for specific things, that'll of course direct the questions you ask me, but maybe I can answer them in the course of my presentation. And I'm also interested in how many of you have already attempted to optimize your website and have or have not had success at it. So just for time's sake, I'm going to move ahead, and as you tally those
13
numbers.
13 yeses. I see 13 yeses, and I see 3 no's.
Great.
2 no's.
So we can assume that most of you have not really attempted or had success in this venture. Regardless, I'll do my best to help you all. Internet marketing, as it applies to this presentation, has 2 parts: inbound marketing and outbound marketing. So we're going to address very quickly outbound marketing before we talk about a lot of SEO. The old school outbound marketing would be cold calling, direct mail, press releases, public speaking, Keisha, trade shows, social media. These are the more modern ones: email marketing, podcasting, advertising, and believe it or not, we have networking on here. All outbound efforts, all efforts you make to get people to come to your site. They're very, they're time extensive, intensive. It requires you to do things outside of what you do on your website. And then there's inbound marketing. So are there questions about the inbound marketing, of course, and I skipped my points about inbound marketing here, trying to go too fast. Inbound marketing, I'll back up, is what you do on your website. It's preparing people looking for you. That traffic is inbound. So SEO, most of SEO is an inbound marketing effort. So Before we continue, are there any questions about the difference between inbound and outbound marketing that you might have? The difference between those two things?
Any
Just
questions?
to be clear.
And I'll man the chat, okay? See if there's anything that
Okay.
wasn't. And you guys can also mute yourselves as well.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, here's a question from Michelle Petralia. She says, my web designer tried to enter some selected browser terms that are most popularly used in searching for my business type industry. What's your question, Michelle? Are you just saying, yes, you've used it? Okay.
Okay, so I would just say the answer to that question is entering terms into a search engine is indeed the beginning of SEO, or in the process of SEO on the user side, not the website side. It is the definition of why SEO is important, because people are looking for you. Okay, let's talk about search engines, because if it wasn't for search engines, we wouldn't care about SEO, search engine optimization, and we're not optimizing the search engine, we're optimizing our website. So we'll talk about search results. What I thought I'd do is briefly run through what a Google search result page looks like and what the elements are. And when you optimize, you can come up in almost all of these places that I'm going to highlight here, in every place but the ads. So this box rectangle across the top that says all videos, news, image, shopping, and more are things that your content can show up in. So if you have images that have keywords on them and they're your images, somebody's looking for your keywords and they click on images, they might find your image there if you optimize it right. When I'm producing work for clients and I need a copy of their logo, rather than bother them to send me a copy of their logo, I'll do an image search for their logo and I'll click on images there and I'll see a selection of logos. They may or may not be usable, but at least that's where I'll start. Then we have ads, and this presentation is not about, I skipped one. This number here, about 345 million results, means that Google has indexed 345 million pages that answer the search that I did here at the top, how to learn SEO. And it took them 0.69 seconds to render that list of 3.5 million results. So that's pretty awesome that the technology works that way. Anyway, the next thing you'll see often, not always, is ads. We're not going to talk about pay-per-click advertising, but you can set up an account with Google and you can create ads there, text and image ads and video ads, and you could create a list of keywords and write your ads, the headline and the description, and more, and then pay per click. Every time somebody clicks on your ad, you are competing with the other people buying ads. And a sidebar here, as you're doing research for keywords, don't click on ads of your competitors. It's not very ethical because they end up paying for your curiosity. If you're a bona fide customer and you see their ad and click on it, that's absolutely fine. But I just try to steer people away from clicking on ads unless you're truly looking for something and you can't find the organic listing. And I'll talk about organic listing. So just don't, that can cost anywhere from $0.05 to $5 a click, depending on the competition for the keywords. Next, you have organic results. Moz.com is one of my favorite SEO websites, and it garnered the top position. This is position number 1 on the Google search as I did it for how to learn SEO. And then you have this box that you'll often see in Google. People also ask, Google is being very helpful to give you some alternative searches that other people have used to find out how to learn SEO. So that's what that box is. And then the rest of the page on down is organic listings. These are the result of your hard work on SEO. And Hrefs and some of these others are very popular. Often you'll see videos. If Google thinks they're important to you, they're going to list how to learn SEO videos here for you. This is all the same page, by the way. I just went down and bringing you content based on your search term. Also, they're presenting images to you, and people also search for. These are all features that Google builds into their algorithm to give you more options for what you're looking for. Then they give you related searches, more options for you to search for more things about how to learn SEO. And finally, if you're looking for your website to show up for your keywords and they're not on page 1, you're going to look at page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That represents 100 listings in Google search results. And I've had clients that I've brought up from page 8, that's in the 80s, closer to page 1 over time. And it takes a long time to do that, but we'll talk about how that all works. The number one thing you can do on Google, and this is the highest priority for you leaving this meeting, is if you have a business, and if it's a local business, you must claim your Google My Business listing. I searched Venture Cafe and what came up, but this box on the right. So you can log into Google and click on Google My Business and set up your Google account, your My Business account. It's free. Enter in everything it asks you to, and that is considered gold in the SEO world, because if somebody's doing a brand search for your brand name, you want them to see that on the right-hand side of the Google results page. Questions about the search results page? Please keep your questions about that if you have any before we move on.
And I'll be manning the chat in case they come through here.
Yeah, and please turn on your microphone and ask it if you like.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
How do you define competition on cost per click? You said it could range from 5 cents to $5.
Well, I'm purposely not covering pay-per-click advertising because of time, but it's Google provides tools for that, but a lot of it's conjecture. You have to figure things out. You have to test. So I'm just briefly going to say, if you have a client, you want to get started, you might give a $5 a day budget, and their budgets are set by day. How much money do you want to spend per day? So you say, I want to spend $5 a day, and the most I want to pay for click is 25 cents. So you're spending $5 a day, 25 cents per click, and you see what happens. You write your ads, you activate the account, see what happens, and see if your ads show up. And by the way, Google Ads is immediate. It's not like SEO. It doesn't take time. Once you're paying for those ads, they're going to show them based on who your competition is and how much they're paying. But if you're a big time lawyer and you're just you just passed your bar exam and hung your shingle, and you want to rank against these huge law firms, the competition's huge, and they have a lot of money to throw around, and their daily budgets are going to be in the hundreds of dollars, if not more. So it's a very competitive thing, and yeah, good luck.
Okay,
but it's a good thing. It's depending on that type of business you run and what kind of competition is out there. Yeah, that's what it is. Any other questions on that before we move on? Okay, let's talk about how search engines work. Let me get caught up with my notes here briefly. Okay, so these robots crawl the internet from site to site to site to site, from link to link to link to link. And when they're on one site and they see a link to another site, they will jump to that next site. They're crawling the entire internet constantly. And what they do is they store on each page that they find the title of the page, the description of the page, and the link of the page. They also store links to images and other things too deep to go into right now, but they store all that stuff. That's called indexing. They store all those into their database. It's vast and it's efficient, but that's basically how Google collects things. There are algorithms that Google uses. Now, these change constantly, so we'll talk about how to stay on your toes and keep your SEO up to date. And these are major changes. Sometimes they affect your ranking, sometimes they don't. When I say ranking, that's, are you number 1 on page 1 or are you number 10 on page 1? You know, the ranking is how high you rank in results. 200 ranking factors in this year that can be identified. You can find those easily in articles. What are the ranking factors? I'm just going to highlight a few of them. Keywords. Keywords tell Google what your page is about. Mobile friendliness. Does your site work well on a mobile device? Is it fast? Does it have too many images? Does it have too much code? It has to be fast. Is it relevant? Is every page on your site relevant to what your site is about? So they measure that. Images, what are your image titles? Are they the right size? Do they have alternative text? We'll talk about that. Freshness, that's how often you update your site. Websites aren't set it and forget it. You can't build it and leave it alone and expect to get traffic. You also have to send traffic to it, and you also have to invite people to it. Invite people to your site and put new content. So outbound links, you need to link to authoritative websites. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But if you are if you refer to something on a web page or a blog post to another company or another blog or something, linking to it is a good thing. And then the reading level, if your reading is complicated, complex, not grammatically correct, Google will count that against you or for you based on its quality. And coming in 2021, user experience. I have no idea how they're going to do this. They're really good at these types of things. They're going to just have ways of telling just by crawling your site if the user experience is beneficial to your target market. So just be prepared for that. Now, don't ask me about how they're going to know user experience, but do you have any other questions about how the search engines work and gather information about your website?
Yes, I have a question, Romondo. As you
All right.
build your website and you're wanting to be found, and when you think about the search engines, what is needed to make sure that you're being found in those search engines?
Okay, we're going to talk about that.
Question.
That is definitely part of the presentation. Thank you for asking.
I have a question.
Any other?
I have a question.
Yes.
So based on those, and you may be hitting this coming up, are there of those sort of factors, are there any of them that, like, what would be the top 3 on your website that you would say these are the ones you need to focus on, like keeping, those would be your focuses, as opposed to don't worry about like your outbound links, but make sure that your images are updated? What would be the ones that you would say focus on?
That's a great question. Number one is keywords. Keywords tell the search engines what your pages are about. If your keywords aren't strong, if you don't have synonyms, if you don't have variations in your copy and in other places, we're going to talk about where they go. So I'm going to clarify that. Google won't have, or search engines won't have a clear idea of what your pages, and I'll talk about pages versus website too, are about. Mobile friendliness, maybe not that important for ranking, but you don't want your users going to a site that they can't use because the text is too small, the links are too small, you have to pinch and zoom. You know what old websites look like on a mobile device. Page speed, that's pretty important, but it's kind of complicated. Relevance, you want to make sure you don't have a blog post that's about your lifestyle. You want to keep all the content on your website about what your website's about, but every page should be different, but it also should be related. So you asked about the most important keywords. Images in relation to their size. You don't want them to be too big. Their file names have keywords in them. So image_1234.jpg is not an optimized file name. Don't post file names with screenshot in it or image1. Never do that. Put your keywords in your file names and in your alternative text, and we'll talk about that. So keywords, images. I would give outbound links a pretty high ranking, but also inbound links. You have your menu system on a website, but you should also link from page to page. When you mention something in a paragraph on a page, put a link in that text, on those words in that text, and link to the page it refers to. When you post a blog post and you're talking about something that's a regular page on your site, link to it, back and forth. The more links within your site, judges your site by how well it serves the user. It tries to emulate or simulate the human experience. So if you're doing things for the benefit of the user, those inbound links, outbound links, speed, all that stuff helps the user and freshness. So I hope I narrowed it down for you. Keywords are very important. There's a lot of subtleties in keywords and how you use them, but I would minimize reading level, relevance, speed's kind of important, freshness. You got to keep new content coming, and we'll talk more about that.
That's
And there's
perfect.
one
Thank you.
question. Thank you. There's one question that's in the chat as well. And the question is, how does this work for those systems that provide you a website as part of a feature in your package? We are a shared workspace using a system that's, let me see the bottom. That's catered to shared workspaces. They also offer the option of using their platform as our website.
That's a good question. It doesn't sound like a very good arrangement to me. But let's just say I'm a dentist, and I'm a member of a dental association. And my association, because I'm a member, provides me with a web development platform that's designed for members of that association. So the question is, how well has it been designed for SEO for dentists? How well does it equip me to compete with other dentists in my city? And how flexible is it for me to customize it for my particular practice? So those are things that I'm a WordPress developer. I've been doing that for 13 years. And WordPress provides me almost zero restrictions on what I can do, both based on WordPress's capabilities with plugins and my experience. But if you're using somebody else's template and environment to create a simple, cheap website, it's probably not a good thing. I'm sorry that maybe I'm wrong about this particular one. I have no way of telling him, but that's what it sounds like to me. So, shall we move on? I'm hearing nothing.
One question for you.
Yes, yes.
Going back to the question of the inbound links, when I think of internal links, I think of helping the user experience for navigation. But when I think about inbound links, I'm thinking about getting a link to some page on my site from an authority
Right.
site externally, like Wikipedia or somebody even better than that. Could you
Right.
clarify that?
Absolutely. So inbound links, maybe I misspoke. I'm pretty sure it wasn't incorrect in my presentation, but I might have spoke it wrong. Inbound links, as you said, are very valuable. And a link from Wikipedia is huge because of the amount of traffic it gets and the authority that it has. So if you have a Wikipedia listing and people go to Wikipedia and find you there, Wikipedia is a search engine. So people go to Wikipedia and type their search in there, and they go and they find you and they click on the link that's in your page and they go to your website. That's huge. Yes, that's an inbound link. And I'm going to talk about building, collecting those. Links outbound to, let's say you're a reseller and you link to your supplier's website. That would be an outbound link that, I don't know why, if you're selling things, you'd want your users to know who you buy them from, but that's a bad example. Boy, I wish I could think of a good example. Well, let's just say you're certified to do something and you link to the website that offers that certification. That's an example of linking to an external site that has authority and probably more visitors than your site. So inbound links from authoritative sites is very important. Linking to other sites that are authoritative is also important. I think you're going to get more mileage out of getting links into your site than you will. And essentially, you can't put hundreds of outbound links on your website. I would never, unless you're some kind of a listing site, I would never advise that. I use an analysis tool that suggests that you have one outbound link on every page. Does it have to be to a different website? Well, I don't know about that. But yeah, the more inbound links you can have from what websites are more important than you linking out to other sites.
Is that the same with how we have with my website, we have it linked to Square for the purchase? Is that similar to that?
And out of necessity, yes, if you want to sell your book, you have to link to Square. Yeah, I guess that's the same thing. Square is a more
Okay.
authoritative site.
Okay.
And you're providing a convenience for your user. They want to buy the book. They go to Square. Google likes that. Yes. Good point.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
All right. So let's talk about SEO. So what I did was I scraped 3 definitions from sites that I highly respect. SEO is the process of getting traffic from free, organic, editorial, or natural search results on search engines. Moz.com says it's the practice of increasing the quantity and quality of traffic, underscore quality of traffic to your website through organic search results. I wish I had time to talk about quality of traffic, but I'll just say one thing. If people find you in search and click on a link in Google and go to your page and say, oh, this is not what I was looking for, that's low quality traffic. You want them to come to your site and click and click and read and read and click some more. And then come back later and keep clicking. So low quality versus high quality, that's important. Make sure your page is relevant to the search that people use. HubSpot, I think everybody's heard of HubSpot. Techniques that help your website rank higher in search engine results pages. If you hear the word SERPs, we went through what's on the search engine results pages, but that's, people call it SERPs. Making your website more visible to people who are looking for solutions. So quickly, any questions about what SEO is or maybe what SEO isn't? We have what? 30 minutes.
We're doing good on time.
Okay. Well, if any questions come
In
in,
the chat.
Okay. Nothing you say?
No, sir.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead. There are types of SEO. There's on-site SEO, which is the first thing you must do. And there's off-site SEO. So we'll cover on-site SEO. Let me get caught up in my notes here. On-site SEO is essentially the use of keywords. I mean, that's the main thing, as we discussed. They're words your users are going to think in their heads and type into the Google search engine to find you. So what are good keywords? It starts with keyword research. And I have to say, and I tell a lot of clients this, don't just decide what your keywords are. That's what you think they are. The real keywords are what your customers or your prospects think they are. So how do you know what those words that are in addition to the words that you want to define your business by or your product or service? I focus on scraping data off of competitors' sites. I moved ahead a little too fast. Who are your competitors? Did I cover this? Do I cover this later? Sorry. Got a little lost here. Talking about keyword research. So you have in mind who your competitors are. You can also find out who your competitors are when you do a search and you find that people who do what you do are ranking higher in Google search. To me, those are the most important competitors because they're the ones that are grabbing your business away from you because they're ranking higher for your keywords. So what you do is you go into their website and you see what their page title is and see what their headlines, their headings and their subheadings are, and the copy in their text, and see what words they're using. And you can always Control F or Command F on your keyboard and type in a word and see how many times that word occurs on the page. That's an easy way to see the saturation or the number of words times that word is used. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is go to a website and look at the source code. I'm not going to do it because it just takes time. You can go into the source code and see what their page description and their metadata is. That's the page title and page description, and see what words they're using. So getting the keywords from your competitors, you're not stealing them. you know, I really think that the internet presents an opportunity, an ethical opportunity to borrow stuff or to gain intelligence. Just collect from a good number of competitors' websites until you get tired of doing it, and get a good list and get an idea of not only the specific words, but the phrases people used. Another great way to do keyword research is read customer reviews. If you have existing reviews or comments from customers, see the words they use in those reviews. And if you can read the reviews of your competitors, by all means, what are their customers saying about their business? Those are great sources of keywords. So now we'll talk about optimizing the site once you have your keyword list, and I'll give you the opportunity to ask more about keyword research. Don't focus on optimizing your homepage and expect that to be it. You have to optimize each page for what's on that page. So and again, I'll tell you where to put this stuff, but each page is unique. Don't write titles and descriptions that are the same for each page. Use the unique content from the page to add the additional keywords. Okay. Just seeing how I can move ahead faster. Okay, great. The next slide is, how do I optimize? Who wants to know that? Page name. What is the name of your page? Does it have keywords in it? The permalink, otherwise known as the URL. It's the name that appears after the .com or .org / and then the page that has dashes in it, the address that has dashes in it between each word of the page title. That the permalinks or URLs should have keywords in them. Metadata, as I said, and actually, let me get out of here and go to Google.
You're reading
Google
my
search.
mind. I was thinking, show us, Romondo.
I hesitate to do this for two reasons. LEARNING-SEO. I hesitate for two reasons. One is it's a bottomless pit, and I can just go way over time trying to do this, or my internet can go down and start crawling. Okay, so the page description is this big blue title. I can't select it for some reason. This is the page title, and that is also visible up here in the tab. The browser tab has that page title in it. No, actually it doesn't. That's the search I did. So if I click on this link, organic link, and it's not an ad, so I don't feel bad about clicking on it. I look up here in the tab and see Learn SEO, Free SEO Learning Center 2020. People in my business will want to know the latest SEO information, so they'll search SEO in 2020 because you'll get results from years back that's not relevant anymore. So that's the page title that shows up in Google. And the page description is the thing that follows that page title, and that's buried in the code. So whether you're working in WordPress or Squarespace or Wix or whatever, you can actually tell the search engines what text to use. And if you can't or don't know how, then Google's going to grab whatever text is there. The first text that shows up on your page, let's go back and look. This would be right here, looking for a place to learn SEO for free. This right here is what Google would grab if you didn't tell Google what to use. So you have the opportunity to put your keywords into your page description manually in most authoring environments. Okay, I think I covered that part of it. Headings and subheadings. Okay, headings and subheadings, very important. In general, the larger the text, the more weight they carry. So right here, the 1 hour guide, or like SEO Learning Center, the 1 hour guide to SEO, ready for more, explore topic. These are called headings. So if I do a command, control inspect, wait a minute. Why can't I do this? Oh, I'll have to do this one. Huh? I don't know what's going on here. I should see inspect. Maybe they have it blocked on their website. You can actually inspect the code and see if it's a H1, that's heading 1, H2, heading 2, or H3, H4, whatever. And those are the most important places to put keywords in the label or title your file names, and I'll add your alt tags. And there's just so much to talk about that I just can't afford to go into all of it. But that's a question you can ask me offline, and I can tell you how to add your alt tags. Let's suffice it at that right now. We already talked about most of this. Internal link, yeah, we already got all that. So let's move on. That's why I hate having to go to a browser, because it distracts me. Questions about on-site SEO. I know there would be a lot of them. So if you have one that's burning and very relevant to what we just talked about, please ask. Otherwise, we'll move ahead. On-site SEO. What can you do to make your site optimized?
I have a question, and it's just for clarity. How to optimize, you're saying to be sure to include all of the things that you had on your bullets. Is that correct?
Well, the bullets are pretty much everything. I think this is a comprehensive list. There may be others, but these are the top 10 very important, most important things you can do on a page that must include keywords. So that's, I would say that's very accurate to say this list of 10 is pretty much what you have to worry about. Some of these are more complicated than others. And not all of them are easy to do. What's easy to do is naming your page, naming your file names, making your file size small. Don't import a 12 megabyte file when you only need a, less than 1 megabyte file. That makes a difference on page loading.
Here's a question.
Okay.
Jessica says, how do you balance titles for keywords and things, but make it specific to the way in which you do business? Like, I don't want my site to sound like, make it go more, everyone else's.
Well, unless you copy and paste other people's text, that's hard to do, I would say. You want to be unique. Google's going to probably dock you if it finds there is a thing called duplicate content. And for instance, you wouldn't want to plagiarize somebody's blog article and post it on your site. I mean, that's blatant. But yeah, it's kind of Jessica, I think the answer is a subtle thing. You don't have to, I wouldn't sweat it too much as long as it's accurate. Mm-hmm. The whole point is to make your descriptions and all the text on your page be relevant to the page and of course accurate. And I took writing in college, and I had a great writing teacher, and she would take my on my papers when she graded them, she would write wordy, meaning I use too many words. And SEO is the same way. In the important text on your page, get the keywords in there, drop all the fluff, all the adverbs, things you don't need, adjectives, all the stuff that I didn't mean adverbs. All the stuff you don't need on the important text. That's the big titles, the headings, the first paragraph. I hope that answers your question, or at least touches on it.
Thanks, Jessica.
Okay, offsite. So let's just say you've optimized your website and you're done. You can't, as I said, set it and forget it. You have to do things primarily to get people to come to your website. So we talked about backlinks, or we didn't talk about backlinks. We talked about inbound links, otherwise known as backlinks. And that's when another website links to you. That's offsite. It's not something you do, and it's not something that happens on your website. It's something that happens on another website that sends traffic. So look for those. Take the opportunity to build those. If you can get somebody to write an article about you and link to your website, absolutely, that's gold. If you can join if you have a profile opportunity and an association website that you're a member of, be sure to link to your website. Blog. We talked about freshness earlier. Put content up on your website. Give Google something else to identify your website's purpose and the specifics of your site on a regular basis. How regular that your resources. It depends on your audience. Just have to do it. You have to keep creating content and putting it out there. But just putting the reason I put this blogging into inbound or offsite, I should say, is without new content, you have very little to link people to, send people from LinkedIn, from Facebook, from your newsletter. So put new content on your website and then put it out there, announce it. Once you've published that article, put it out there as many places as possible to get people to come back and read it. Of course, social media, I don't think I need to talk about this, but not only can you post your new content to social media, but use your other pages that are, I call them static pages that you built that are part of your website that are not part of your blog. Link to them now and then and say, hey, have you read our capabilities statement, or visit our products page, or link to products in your store. All that's good content on social media and elsewhere. Email marketing. Make sure there's a subscribe feature on your website. And even if you don't have a newsletter, build your email subscriber list. Give people the opportunity to opt in. They raise their hand for information. And when you get around to it, yes, publish a newsletter. But if you don't have the resources or the bandwidth to do a newsletter now, at least collect email addresses. Advertising, takes a budget, takes work, and I'm not going to talk about advertising. Now, number one thing you must do today or tomorrow is claim, if you haven't already claimed, or optimize your Google My Business account. There, once you post your logo, your location, your hours, your COVID-19 statement, post all your new content there, upload a bunch of photographs, and then solicit reviews. Google My Business is a great place for customers to review your product. And if you want to know my strategy for getting reviews, we can contact me and I'd be happy to help you with that. All right, questions about offsite SEO. We have 15 minutes and one little section to go.
Yay, we're rolling.
Yep.
You're doing good. No questions in the chat.
Good. All right. So what else? Well, this is a little radical to say it's a 24/7, 365 job, but you can't stop thinking about it. It's, as I said, you can't set it and forget it on your website. You have to keep creating new content. There are a lot of things you have to keep doing. Just keep that in mind. Competitors don't sleep and algorithms change. So you'll want to monitor Google's algorithm updates. And of course, keep an eye on your Google search results. Test your keywords now and then. I would recommend that you don't test your keywords when you're logged into Google. Either log out and test your keywords so Google doesn't know anything about you, or do it in an incognito or private window. That'll give you more accurate results. When will I see improvement? Great question. I'm glad you asked. 4 months is what they say is a reasonable amount of time to wait before you can see any improvements if you do all this stuff. But again, it depends on competition. What's your competition doing? Are they doing nothing good? You'll probably rise faster in the search results. Inbound links. If you've got active inbound links, people linking into your website, that's going to help speed things up a lot, because Google will know that your website's more important than the next guy's. And then content. Create new content, get it out there on a regular basis. I mean, post it up there on a regular basis and distribute it immediately as widely as possible. Tracking tools. How do you know? Well, besides doing test searches for your keywords, and I have fun doing that for my clients and myself, you can also use Google Analytics. We'll take a quick look at that. And also Google Search Console. So let's jump out of here. And I have an analytics pay account open for one of my clients. And let's see, the audience overview. Loading slowly. 'Come on now. refresh. If y'all want to go to junketdesserts.com, I'll be able to, not now. Well, yeah, I could, if y'all want to jump in there, we can look at the real time. That'd be fun. I'll do that right now. Currently in real time, you can look at real-time traffic. So if you launch something like an email blast and you want to come in here and see the traffic coming to your website, you could do this. Currently, there's one person on the website right now. So I'll check it in a few minutes. Audience overview. So this, we are looking at the last month, is that? I'll do last 30 days. Traffic. This website has received 1,394 users. Almost as many of them have been new users, never been before. I'm going to just gloss over a lot of this. Bounce rate is the number of people, a percentage of people who came to the website and left immediately. They bounced off the site. They hit one page and left. That means they didn't find what they were looking for, or they were looking for a phone number or email address, which should be at the top of the page. So maybe that's why it has such a high bounce rate. Most relevant to our conversation is where's your traffic coming from? So I went to acquisition channels here, and I see that 59.202% of the traffic to this website comes from organic search. That's huge. Almost 60% of the traffic that comes here comes through the search engine. So this is a successful optimized site. Referral, director are pages, people clicking on links in emails, bookmarks, links, and other things that are not like search engines are other websites. And then referrals are other websites. Almost 5% of people are coming from other websites, which doesn't include social. And 46 people out of 1,300, whatever that is coming from social media. 38. And this company, I don't do their social media, and they don't do much, but they still get some traffic. So you can see Facebook, Blogger, Pinterest, LiveJournal, and Pocket. So this is just a very brief overview of what's in analytics. I can also look at behavior and see what they did. How about if we looked at the most popular pages? The most popular page on almost every website is the home page, but not always. And you can see that almost 24% of the people that went to this website went to the home page. These are the other in rank, number 1 through 10, the most important, the top visited pages on the site. Then we're going to very quickly look at Google Search Console. This shows me more, I would say, technical information about, it's more performance related, but this shows searches for search clicks, coverage, number of pages, just all kinds of detail stuff that I don't have time to go through. If there's something wrong with your site, this is where you'd find the error message. And Google Search Console also will email you if it has a serious problem. Like, let's say your mobile responsive isn't working somehow for a particular page. It'll tell you. You can come back here and see why. So that's Google Search Console. They work in tandem. Google's a great thing. So let's wrap this up. Now, questions about anything related to SEO.